All right, it's time to move on here on the Back 3 NRL podcast. And because of the rep round that we just had, and because a couple of guys have now staked their claim for New South Wales jerseys as potential representative bolters, I figured this week's Kev's Fave 5 would be on representative bolters. So I've gone through the annals and found the ones that I thought were my favourite guys picked out of the blue that had some sort of impact on their representative games. So let's get started. Number 5, Sione Matautia, Australia's youngest ever test player at just 18 years and 129 days, beating out Israel Folau's previous record. Matautia's selection in the 2014 Four Nations squad was a huge shock. It was clear the teenager had a bucket load of talent, but he played just 7 first-grade games before his selection. In fact, he was in the Samoan train-on squad for the Four Nations when he was drafted in by coach Tim Sheens. The Aussies, they were decimated by injuries that year coming into the tournament, but it was still a wild selection, given guys with origin experience, namely guys like Will Chambers, missed out on selection altogether. He played 3 tests for Australia in that tournament. If I'm honest, I don't know if he gets back into that Australian team ever again, but it was certainly a massive bolter, Sione Matautia.
How did he get picked over Will Chambers? That was ridiculous.
It was.
And I can tell you to this day, I don't know which one is which. Sione, Pete, is there another 2? Who does he look like?
Sione, Pete, Pat, and Chanel.
And I think they're, identical to me.
Number 4, Brett Finch. Now, I'm bending the rules a little bit here because Brett Finch made his debut in 2004, where he played in Game 2, but this selection focuses on the 2006 series opener. Originally, Craig Gower was the one selected to play. He pulled out with injury at the last minute. Matt Orford was the next choice in line. He was injured as well. He couldn't play. Andrew Johns and Trent Barrett were both contacted to come out of retirement from Rep footy. Both of them turned it down, so it came to 5th choice, Brett Finch, to come in and pull on a blue jumper 24 hours before the game. And what does he do? He goes out there, kicks the match-winning field goal. He scores a try of his own. He sets up another one, has the game of his career. What a moment for Brett Finch. 5th choice halfback, comes out there and has a blinder.
I thought it was great because Brett Finch was never that good of a halfback. I don't think he's ever played a game that good ever again in his career or before that. And just to see him come out and be so out of his depth and yet not at the same time was great.
24 hours notice. Unbelievable. 5th choice. Incredible stuff. Staying with that 2006 series, number 3, Adam Mogg. Queensland came out of Game 1 and were absolutely ridiculed by the media despite losing by just a point. They'd fielded 7 debutants in that game and the media had labelled them the worst Queensland team ever, only for injuries to strike and then for them to then be seen as an even worse team leading into Game 2. The big eyebrow raiser was Adam Mogg. The Canberra winger was 28 years old. He was leaving for Catalans Dragons at the end of the year and he was labelled Adam Who by the papers when he was selected. Absolutely nobody saw that pick coming. Well, as fate would have it, Adam Who became Adam 2. He went out there and scored 2 tries in one of the most memorable Origin debuts ever. Queensland put 30 on New South Wales that night and it kick-started the greatest winning run in Origin history, and it's largely thanks to a complete bolter, Adam Who.
Adam Mogg, that great try that he scored where his whole body was out and he kind of
Game 3, yep.
Kind of put it back down like in the back of his hand or something like that. It was crazy. Go Moggy.
Adam Mogg, Clinton Schifosky at fullback, and Darren Lockyer scoring that winning try from the Brett Hodgson throw from dummy half. That's all I remember of that game at Adam Mogg. Wow.
What a crazy series. Number 2, Krishnan Inu. Krishnan Inu is one of those mega talented backs that entertained us in those mid to late 2000s here in Australia. Over 160 professional games and counting. He's over there in the Super League at the moment. But he was picked for New Zealand after just 1 NRL appearance. 1. Stephen Kearney picked him at fullback in the Kiwis' 30-6 loss to the Aussies in that Anzac Test. He, of course, went on to have a terrific career, but by being picked for New Zealand after 1 first-grade game, man, that's throwing you into the deep end, isn't it? 1, he went back to reserve grade after that and didn't work his way back into the full-time A-grade squad until later in the year, but a huge bolter after 1 game.
Yeah, was Kearney his coach at Para at that time?
Possibly.
Or something like that, I think was where it came from. But yeah, Krishnan Inu, that was played at fullback after only playing 1 game on the wing or something for Para. That was huge.
Talk about setting him up to fail. Craziness. Number 1, Ben Ikin. While all the other guys I've listed were selections from out of the blue, nothing can top being selected for State of Origin, approaching the coach, and having the coach not even know who you are. That's exactly what happened to Ben Ikin, the youngest man to ever play Origin. When he turned up to camp in 1995, the 95 series was full of bolters due to the nature of the times, the Super League war in full swing, and no Broncos being available, all the rest of it. But for 18-year-old Ben Ikin, it was next-level stuff. It's one of my favourite stories in rugby league ever, that he rocked up that first day with the team meetings and everything. He got in the lift to go upstairs to where the team was meeting. Vaughton was in the lift, Paul Fatty Vaughton, the coach. He looked at Ikin, saw him as a teenage fan, and told him, sorry, no autographs, upstairs is for players and coaches only. Ben Ikin says, my name's Ben Ikin, I'm in the team. What is going on? Absolutely remarkable. The coach didn't even know who he was. That's how big of a bolter Ben Ikin was in 95, and that's why he's my number one favourite rep bolter of all time.
My favourite part about Ben Ikin, he said on 360 the other day, he was sitting there and they used to announce the teams on the telly, and that was the first way they'd actually find out about it. He was sitting there and he heard his name, and he was kind of like, what? And then his phone rang, and he picked it up, and it was his dad. And his dad said, "Is there another Ben Ikin that plays for the Gold Coast?" And he goes, "No, I'm the only one, Dad." And he goes, "What? How is that even possible?" So even his dad didn't believe it. That's how crazy that is.
That's my fave five for the week. If you've got any suggestions for future fave fives or any of your favourite Origin bolters, get in contact with us here at the Back 3 NRL podcast. Denny, how can they do that?
Facebook and Twitter, Back3NRL, the Back3 podcast at outlook.com for your emails. Do it.
All right, let's discuss some possible bolters coming into the Origin series.